Welcome back to my channel, guys. I'm really excited for today's video. If you've been here a while, you guys know that I absolutely love doing the TBR jar. So I thought it would be fun to put prompts in a jar, just like the TBR jar, and I will give you guys book recommendations based on prompts. I saw this a couple times on TikTok. I can't remember the creator who did it, unfortunately, but I thought this would be so fun. I am going to do the same amount of prompts that I normally do for my TBR jar. So I'm going to do 8 prompts and give you guys 8 book recommendations. Let's get right into it. The first prompt is a book for everyone. So a book that I think that everyone would enjoy. This prompt is actually a lot harder than you would expect because so many people have different tastes in books. Okay, I think I am going to say The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I don't have my physical copy because my mom is reading it, actually. This is actually a historical fiction, but even people that don't normally gravitate to historical fiction, I have heard love this book. This book takes us through 2 sisters' point of view in Nazi-occupied France in 1939, I believe. Vianne is the older sister. She has a daughter, and her husband ends up having to go off to war, and she is left in this small town in France where she is basically barely making it by with rations and just trying to really keep her head above water when a Nazi comes to live with her. So we see her side of the story, but we also see her younger sister Isabel's side of the story. Isabel is a little bit more rebellious, and she wants to really get into something to fight against the Nazis. So even though her father sent her to live with Vianne during this time, while she's living with her, she's still trying to figure out how she can rebel against the Nazis. I think that this book is a really important read, even though it's a fictional story. The war and everything is based on true events. I think it's so important for us to remember these times, and seeing it from the perspective of people actually living during that time is so intense. I feel like this book really gives you so much empathy and makes you feel so grateful for how your life is. Moving on to our next prompt, a unique book. For a unique book, I'm going to pick 5 Survive by Holly Jackson. This is a YA thriller. This is following a group of kids who are off to spring break in an RV together, but before they make it to their destination, they break down in the middle of nowhere. They have no cell reception, and it's too far to walk to make a call or to find anyone to help them. As they are trying to figure out their situation and what to do, their tires are one by one shot out by a sniper in the woods, and they realize that their breaking down in the middle of nowhere was actually not a coincidence or an accident. So they begin to play this game of cat and mouse and try and figure out why this sniper is here, what he wants from them, and one by one, the teenagers are all bringing to light the secrets that they have that could have put them in this situation. And by the end of this, one of them does not survive. I just thought this was such a unique concept. This will definitely get your heart racing, and you'll be coming up with multiple theories as to what is going on and why. Next prompt, a YA book. I just did a YA book. Okay, a YA book that I read last year that I loved was Graceling by Kristen Kishore. This is actually the start to a series. It's a super old series. Like, it came out in the early 2000s, I believe. Yes, 2008. In this, we are following Katza. Katza works for the king as like his thug. Katza is a Graceling. A Graceling is a person who has special skills, and her special skill is killing. We end up meeting Prince Poe, whose family member, I can't remember how they're related, if he's his uncle or his grandfather is locked away in a different kingdom. So Katza and Prince Po team up to figure out why he's being held captive and how to free him. And of course, there's lots of adventures along the way, and they meet lots of different people. I really, really liked this one, guys. I believe there's 5 books in this series. I've only read this one and the prequel, but I really liked both of them and highly suggest it. Next, a book in a series that's not the first book. Some people might think I'm crazy for this one because I'm going to pick Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. This is the second book in the Divine Rivals duology. A lot of people really enjoyed the first one, including myself, but a lot of people did not enjoy this one. Obviously, I won't tell you the exact plot of the second book, but in Divine Rivals, we are following Roman and Iris. They are reporters for their newspaper, and in this world, there are 2 gods that are fighting, and Iris and Roman are sent to the front lines to report on the war. Iris has a magical typewriter, and she's writing to her brother who is fighting in the war. When she puts the letter underneath her wardrobe, it disappears, and she thinks that it's going to her brother, but actually it's going to Roman. Roman knows that he's talking to Iris, but Iris does not know that she's talking to Roman, and they fall in love by writing back and forth with their magical typewriters. It's very cute, very sweet, very wholesome. Such a great love story. The first book really just kind of delves into like the beginning of Iris and Roman's relationship and just kind of solidifying their love for each other. So it's more focused on the romance, whereas the second book, Ruthless Vows, is very, very plot heavy and very war heavy. I found this to be very exciting. I feel like the first book really gets you attached to the characters, and then in this one, you're like, they're fighting for their lives, and I don't know if they're gonna win. I don't know if they're gonna die. I think that is like my favorite thing about romanticies or fantasy in general, even if it's like found family. It's like, it's so tense and you just want them to win this war, and because it's like your family is going to war and you're like so tense and you're like flipping the pages so fast because you're like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. That's what this book felt like to me. And I thought that like the fantasy elements were really fantastical and fun. So yeah, I might be alone on this one, but I highly recommend this one. If you haven't tried this duology yet, just know going in that the first book, Divine Rivals, is very romance heavy and the second book is very plot and war heavy. Next up, my latest 5-star book. Guys, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't had a 5-star book this year. And it is mid-March. So that's disappointing. I won't lie. But I will say that I am a very, very strict rater when it comes to 5-star books. Like, I think I only had maybe 3 or 4 5-star books in 2024. I'm just very, 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 very picky about my 5-star reads. So I think I already know. Yes, I do know what it is. My latest 5-star read, which I read back in November. It was the first book that I read in November 2024, and that is Blood Marked by Tracy Deonn. This is the second book in the Legendborn Cycle series. It is a trilogy. The third one just came out. I haven't read it yet. I'm very excited. I just downloaded it on my Kindle. Again, I'm not going to tell you the plot of the second book, but in Legendborn, which is the first book, we're following Bree Matthews after her mother passes away. 16, but she heads to this college program, but her first night on campus, she actually witnesses a magical attack, and she quickly learns that other people around her can't see this happening. And this is how she discovers the secret society called Legendborn. People in the Legendborn secret society are descended from Knights of the Round Table, and they are working tirelessly to close off these portals into basically the underworld where these demons are coming out and attacking people. Even just talking about this book, I have chills. I love this series so much. I guarantee Oathbound is probably going to be my first 5-star read of 2025. If you haven't picked up this series yet, I'm telling you, you are missing out. So please, please, please pick this series up. This was actually my favorite series of 2024. My favorite books of 2024. A must read, you guys. Next, we have 5 already, so we'll do 3 more. Best of Book Talk. I know that these are widely talked about already, so I won't harp on it, but the prompt is the best of book talk. So I have to say the Empyrean series is one of my favorite series that I have read. I know a lot of people have mixed feelings on this series, but I personally really enjoy it. This takes place in a fantasy world where there are dragons, and we're following Violet Sorengale. She is a brand new dragon rider at Basgiath War College. We are going through Violet's first year in the Riders Quadrant, and she has to do all of these different tasks in order to prove herself to the dragons and to the higher ups at the War College. This book is also enemies to lovers, so this is peak romantasy. Iron Flame, the second book in the series, was a 5-star read for me in 2025. I believe this was actually my first 5-star read. I just love it. I love these characters. I love mostly the dragons. The romance is good. Yeah, I just love it, guys. And I don't care if I'm basic for it. Sorry, guys, I had to switch my battery so the camera angle might be different. And also, I just started yapping even though I wasn't recording. So I picked another one, and my prompt was a short book. To me, a short book is under 300 pages, and coming in at 292 pages, we have A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. In this, we are following Constanta, and she is one of Dracula's brides. We are following her throughout her life as a vampire from the moment that she is turned by Dracula. We are kind of seeing her inner thoughts and feelings. She's quickly realizing that Dracula is not as amazing as he made himself out to be. More people are pulled into Dracula's web and become his brides. This book was actually nothing like I expected it to be. I remember wanting to read this for a very long time, and it was different than I expected. So I remember the first little bit, I was like, I don't know if I like this, but I ended up really, really liking this. Once I came to terms with the fact that it was not kind of what I expected. This is very lit ficky. We are following Constanta through her life. There really isn't a plot. Very, very character driven, but I absolutely ate this up. The prose in this is so good. It's relatable. It's beautiful. It's sapphic. And it gets pretty intense towards the end, which I just really loved. On the back of this, there's a quote that says, "Atmospheric and lush. It will haunt you in the best possible way." And that's the best quote to describe this. Atmospheric and lush. So like gothic and dark. Yeah, this is just absolutely stunning in my opinion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, we have one more to pick, guys. Favorite series. I have many favorite series, but if we are talking my top notch, nothing has beat it yet series, ACOTAR, guys. I know, I'm basic again. If you couldn't already tell, I don't care about being basic. With this series being my favorite, I do have to say that this is my favorite since I started reading again. If we're talking like favorite of all time, Harry Potter. Again, very basic, but it just is. Okay? There's a reason why people like these books. If you live under a rock, this series, A Court of Thorns and Roses, we're following Feyre, who is a human. She kills a wolf in the woods one day to feed her family because her family is very poor, and she hunts for them. And the wolf ends up actually being a fae. So our MMC Tamlin, who is a fae, comes to get her and brings her back to the fae realm where she is forced to stay with him. Feyre quickly learns that there is like a darkness or a shadow that is taking over the fae world, and Tamlin is trying to basically save the fae realm. Again, peak romantasy. I don't know what to say, guys. This might just be my favorite because this is really like what got me back into reading, or it's maybe not what got me back into reading, but this is the series that hit the hardest once I had gotten back into reading. And I'm still obsessed. I think about this series very often, and I would love to do a reread of this, but I'm just kind of hoping that SJM is going to make an announcement sometime and tell us all that the 6th book is going to come out, and then I can do my reread before the 6th book comes out. I believe there's supposed to be 3 more books in this series. I think there's supposed to be 2 more like normal books and 1 novella. I would love to know what your answers for my prompts were. I love to get book recommendations in the comments. If you do book videos, do this video and tag me in it. Let me know your thoughts on all of the books that I picked. But until next time, guys, bye.